Snow rolled across the empty streets, soft and silent like forgotten wishes. For a moment, Mia wondered if Christmas had simply passed her by this year. She pulled her thin coat tighter, shivering as the icy wind sliced right through the fabric. It was Christmas Eve, and she had exactly $10 in her pocket, the very last of everything she owned. She hadn't eaten a real meal in 2 days. She had no gifts for her younger sister, waiting at home, and no idea how they would even get through tomorrow. All she had left was hope. A small, fading spark that maybe, just maybe, life hadn't completely forgotten her. And that's when she saw him. Not a man, not yet anyway, but a boy, maybe 7 years old, standing by the bus stop. He was sniffling, hugging a worn-out backpack to his chest. His cheeks were flushed bright red from the cold, and he looked so lost, so completely alone. Mia's heart squeezed painfully. She couldn't just walk by. She approached him gently and asked where his parents were. Between shaky, cold breaths, he explained he'd gotten separated from his mother in the crowded Christmas market and had no idea how to get home. He pointed to the bus schedule, his small finger tracing a line. The next bus heading toward his neighborhood cost exactly $10. Mia felt the weight of that single bill in her pocket. Felt like a final choice. She could either give up her last $10, or she could face a 5-mile walk home through the freezing wind and biting snow. She looked at the little boy's tear-streaked face and smiled softly, brushing a few snowflakes from his hair. "Come on, sweetheart," she said, her voice warm. "Let's get you home." She bought the ticket, helped the child safely onto the bus, and stood on the curb, waving as it pulled away. When the bus vanished around the corner, she was left standing there, alone, broke, freezing, and with no idea how she'd make it home. But somehow, she didn't regret it, not even for a second. She took a deep breath, the cold air burning her lungs, and turned to start the long walk. When a long black limousine rolled slowly up to the curb beside her, the tinted window lowered, and a pair of warm, caramel-brown eyes met hers. The man inside looked to be in his early 30s. He had a sharp jawline, messy dark hair, and wore a fitted coat that probably cost more than her entire year's rent. His voice, when he spoke, was as smooth as velvet. "You're going to freeze out here," he said, stepping out into the snow. "Please, let me give you a ride." Mia blinked, completely stunned. I'm fine, really." But the way he was looking at her wasn't with pity. It was with curiosity, intrigue, as if he had just witnessed something incredibly rare. "I saw what you did for that boy," he said gently. "Most people wouldn't give up their last $10 for a stranger." Mia flushed, feeling embarrassed but also strangely warmed by his words. "He needed it more than I did." The man's lips curved into a slow, appreciative smile. "I'm Adrian." "Mia," she replied, her voice barely a whisper. "Well, Mia." He opened the limousine door, and the rich scent of leather and a wave of blissful warmth billowed out. "Let me give you a ride home, and at least, let me give you a warm night." There was something magnetic about him, something undeniably soft beneath his polished, expensive exterior. Mia hesitated for only a moment before stepping inside. The limo's heat sank into her bones, and she exhaled shakily, only then realizing just how cold she'd truly been. Adrian sat beside her, not too close, but close enough that she felt his presence like a gentle, calming hum. He watched her in a way that made her chest tighten, not in a hungry or predatory way, but with pure attentiveness, like she mattered. "Why were you out alone tonight?" he asked quietly. So she told him. She told him everything. About losing her job 2 months ago, about working part-time at a diner just to scrape by, about trying to support her younger sister after their mom passed away. She didn't cry, but her voice wavered with the weight of it all, and Adrian listened. He really listened, in a way that no one had in a very long time. When she finished, he murmured, "You're incredible, strong in ways you don't even see." Heat crept up her neck. "I don't always feel strong," she admitted. "You don't need to feel it," he said softly, his eyes locking on hers. "You just are." Something warm and fluttering spread through her stomach. She had to look away, trying to ignore the way his gaze made her feel. Seen, desired, and safe, all at once. He glanced out the window as they neared her building, an aging dim apartment complex, with flickering hallway lights. She felt a pang of self-consciousness, but Adrian didn't seem to notice or care. Instead, He spoke with a quiet certainty that sent a shiver down her spine. "You shouldn't be afraid of wanting more in life, Mia." "More?" she whispered. "Yes." His eyes flicked down to her lips for just a second before returning to her gaze. "More comfort, more safety, more happiness." She swallowed hard, her heart pounding against her ribs. There was undeniably something happening between them, a warmth, a pull, a spark she never would have expected to find on a night like this. Before she got out, Adrian reached into his coat, pulled out a small, crisp envelope, and pressed it into her hand. "It's not charity," he said firmly, as if reading her mind. "It's recognition, the kind of heart this world desperately needs." Her fingers trembled as she opened it. Inside, she gasped. It was an offer letter. For a job at one of his companies, starting immediately. A real salary, benefits, stability. The kind of opportunity that could change everything. "Why me?" she breathed, looking up at him, her eyes wide. He smiled, slow, warm, almost intimate smile. "Because you gave the last of what you had. When you had almost nothing. I believe people like you deserve the world." She stared at him, her heart pounding with a feeling she hadn't felt in months. It was hope. Bright, brilliant hope. "Can I see you again?" Adrian asked quietly. The question made something spark in her chest. Something sweet, something undeniably electric. She whispered, a small smile finally reaching her own lips. "I'd like that." His smile deepened, soft and full of promise. "Then Merry Christmas, Mia." She stepped out of the limousine, clutching the envelope, and watched as Adrian's car disappeared into the snowy night. Snow drifted down around her, shimmering like diamonds beneath the streetlights. But for the first time in a very long time, she didn't feel cold. She felt alive. And as she climbed the stairs to her apartment, she knew with absolute certainty this Christmas Eve wasn't the end of her story. It was the beginning. A miracle wrapped in black leather seats, warm eyes, and a smile that felt just like destiny. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more. See you next time.